What's up, Loki variants? We're the Hills Maniacs, and today we're going to answer the question in the title of this video: where was Loki sent to at the end of episode 4? So, if you watched episode 4, you know that after encountering the Timekeepers, Loki and Sylvie fought off a bunch of TVA agents until Loki was pruned by...
Along with Mobius.
Along with Mobius. Well, he was kind of pruned before that.
Yes, but he was still pruned.
Yes. Yeah, so Loki and Mobius were both pruned in this episode. But he was pruned by Renslayer, and then just when you think like Loki's dead or what happens to people who get pruned, in an end credits scene, if you didn't know that existed, go back and watch it because it's kind of a crucial point. In the end credits, Loki wakes up, thinks he's dead or something, then he hears people talking to him and he looks up and he's in some kind of other timeline or something.
Right.
Where there's like these three other Lokis and an alligator Loki.
And probably many more.
Standing over top of him like, you're not dead yet, but you need to come with us. And if you look at like the footage, or if you watch this back or look at like any pictures of it, in the background, you see what looks like, I guess it's New York City, but I guess like everything's destroyed. So you actually see Avengers Tower for a brief moment in the background, all destroyed. So that gets us wondering, what exactly happens when someone gets pruned?
Right.
And is everybody sent to the same... You know, it looks like they were sent to a different timeline. And my guess is it's one that's already basically ruined anyways. And the TVA doesn't care where they send these people as long as they don't ruin the sacred timeline. They don't care about any other timelines. See, that's what I got out of that.
For me, personally, I think there's somewhere within the quantum realm. I think that, because, you know, in Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think it was, we saw like a city in the quantum realm when he was traveling through there. It could be that one, it could be another city, but I think there's somewhere in there, and this is how they'll get released somehow when Kang either breaks out, or, you know, if Kang is there, you know, so I think they're somewhere in the quantum realm, and I think like maybe a lot of other stuff also already happens in the quantum realm, but that's a whole nother thing.
So you don't think like the TVA is in the quantum realm?
See, what I think is, I think everything already exists within the quantum realm, and they just travel from one timeline to another.
Mm-hmm.
And by changing one timeline, you're not really changing yours. Kind of like what Hulk said in Endgame with time travel. You know, if you change the past, it can't change your future or whatever.
Yeah.
But these are all... everywhere they travel in Endgame is a different timeline within the quantum realm, is what I think. And so I think that Loki had gone somewhere within one of these other timelines in the quantum realm. Now, I don't think everybody gets sent to the same place, and here's why.
Yeah.
Because if you look during the whole thing where Sylvie starts branching off with the different timelines, you know, at the end of episode, what was that, 2 or 3, where he goes through the portal and stuff. The Renslayer grabs one of her, grabs her own pruner, I guess, or stick.
Pruning stick.
Pruning stick.
That's probably what they're called. The pruninator.
But she grabs her own as if she has like a special one, and she uses it on Loki. In this one, she uses hers, but when Mobius gets pruned,
he got hit
it's one of the other guards.
Right.
That uses his. So I think hers is specifically designed for Loki variants that she sends to this specific place for whatever reason, and why Loki variants I don't know, unless
I'm gonna
Loki has something to do with, you know,
I'm going to kind of build off of that, because I think that when they send them to different locations, or when they prune someone, I guess the way the pruning works is like it sends them to a specific place. So if it's like a TVA agent gets pruned, I don't know, like, do they go back to the TVA, like, kind of restart as if they were, like, a computer that was rebooting? Because I don't think they would prune them to go back to where they used to be. Like, because we know all the TVA agents are former variants of someone from Earth. Like, you know, they all had lives on Earth. I don't think pruning them sends them back to Earth because their timeline was erased for, you know, whatever reason that they were, whatever reason they became a variant. So, like, where exactly are they sent? And the fact that Loki was sent to a place that has, you know, a bunch of other Lokis, like, is it specific? You know what I mean? Like, when they have, like you said, she has one that maybe just is for Loki variants.
Right.
And then I just think it's weird that she would purposely send, you know, Loki to another realm that has a bunch of Lokis where there could possibly be the risk of them all coming back.
Here's the thing on that, though. I mean, it's easier to control a group, or it's easier to control, you know, something that you're afraid might, you know, take over, if they're all together. So if you can get all the Loki variants in one spot and then destroy that area to where they can't escape, you know, now you've just destroyed it. Rather than having to track them all down one at a time and kill them off one by one, if you get them all in one spot and then just destroy that, then you destroy Loki. Unless there's a reason that Loki has to meet other Lokis, and in which case...
See, but if there's... You know, the fact that there's a bunch of different Lokis all in the same place, but there's, like, no one else there, but yet there's clear as day New York City in the background. It's like, I would assume, like, everyone, at least in New York City, in that timeline would have been probably killed or ran or fled the city or whatever during the Battle of New York from the Avengers. Only this time the Avengers lose, so, like, why are there now just a whole... I mean, other than them pruning the Lokis, why are there a whole bunch of Lokis here?
Because
and why is one of them an alligator?
There would have already been at least one Loki there anyways.
True.
If this timeline, or wherever they're at, plays out the exact same way that the MCU does, there would have already been a Loki there. The rest of them were sent there afterwards because Loki had already won. He's not going to kill himself. So if you send off the rest of the Lokis to this spot, you know, it's not going to affect you any. So...
Yeah. See, that's what I said. I think she's sending that... She just sends people to timelines that are already basically chaos anyways. And they don't care... Whoever is actually controlling the TVA doesn't actually care about any other timelines. They need this one specific timeline to play out in certain ways. And if there's any variations from it, they'll just make, you know, cause destruction, whatever, by sending all the pruned variants to these areas. And if they can't control them and make them, you know, basically like a mind slave to work for them at the TVA, then they just prune them. Which, you know, she finally got to prune Loki and he winds up here. It just begs the question, like, how exactly does the pruning work? Like, is it, you know, I don't know if maybe they'll get more into detail in the upcoming episodes, because I guess there's only 2 episodes left of this season. But I just think it's interesting to think about, like, well, where does everybody else go? Is Mobius in this same place that Loki is? Only in, like, a different, you know, if it's all a big timeline, not necessarily, like, he might not be in New York, but he was pruned and winds up in somewhere else, and that's it. Or are they all just sent to randomly selected, you know,
or maybe it goes by like the day. You know, if you get pruned on
a Tuesday,
July 1st, you go to this place. You know, because this is a place that was destroyed on July 1st. So if you're pruned on July 1st, you go to this place. You know,
exactly.
Who knows how it works? And that's why I say, you know, I think all of these different places that they could end up are other cities or other timelines within the quantum realm, and that's a whole nother topic to get into, but I think that he is somewhere within the quantum realm right now.
Now, I can already kind of see this turning into like all the Loki variants teaming up, somehow finding their way back to the
Loki.
TVA. Yeah, somehow finding their way back to the TVA to take it over. maybe this is leading to, like, maybe actually Loki is the one who created, like, he'll find out that somewhere at the end of time or whatever,
it's him that
created the TVA to make sure that he stays alive throughout the whole sacred timeline.
And maybe that's why all the Lokis have to end up together, because
so that they can fight
with
this war,
them all being together, you know, you guarantee that they're all safe because they're gonna, you know, watch each other's backs because they are them.
Yeah, they claim that the sacred timeline has things that are supposed to play out, but I think it's bigger than that. I think it's like, if something branches off that was supposed to happen, they were supposed to leave this timeline, end up in another one, cause something else to happen in this timeline, etc.
Right.
Like, it all is supposed to happen, whether the TVA says it is or not. And whoever is behind the TVA and whatever they do, like however they designed the pruning and all that stuff, is, I think it's kind of scary, honestly, and genius at the same time. It's like, it's kind of like sending, like, I read not like a theory, but I think I read somewhere, it's kind of similar to when you delete something on your computer, it goes to the trash bin, but it's not fully deleted yet. And that's what I think the pruning kind of is. They send them to some other realm or reality or timeline or whatever.
They're just not,
until they can come in and just, like, wipe them all out of existence completely.
And that's exactly back to my point. You know, you put all the Lokis in one spot, it's easier to kill them all off.
Exactly.
Rather than having to be like, oh, there's one in this place and one over here. You know, you have them all right here.
And if you think back to, like, the very first episode of Loki, when he saw that one guy who didn't want to or who didn't have a ticket or who wasn't going to stand in line for a ticket, they pruned him. It's like, where did he end up? Did he end up as... Does the pruning work in multiple ways? Like, does it, you know, make people... Is that how they control people? They prune some people and they become an agent of the TVA, you know, things like that. But if you're like a variant of like a Loki, you know, a Loki or whoever, you end up somewhere else. It's like, it's all interesting to think about. And there's just so many questions just about the pruning system within the Loki series alone. But let us know what you guys think down in the comments section. Where do you think Loki actually ended up? Also, how do you think the pruning works for other people, like Mobius or any of the other TVA agents that might get pruned in the future? Let us know what you think about the show as well, and we'll see you in the next video, guys.
Bye, guys.
Subscribe.